Welcome to another episode of What is Happening with My Life Right Now.
Because what is happening with your life right now?
Girl, I ask myself that every day. If you're watching for the first time, welcome. I'm Giovanna Burgess-White.
And I'm Yvette Valdenegro. Hello.
And this is season 6 for those of you guys who have been watching us for a long time. And for you who just started, we are in our 6th season of our podcast.
Can't believe it.
Congratulations. Episode 253. And we decided this year to go ahead and do a podcast that is kind of parallel to our book and our read along. But the most important thing for us is that we're just done with women saying they are fine. So no more.
We're done
fine.
and they're done. They just don't know it yet.
Yes. So thank you for watching. We are going to be doing every single month a topic of the month. And this month is really all about coaching. Why hiring a coach, especially during seasons that change. We're going to talk about some statistics in this episode. And then in the next episode, we're going to have one of our former clients. So I'm so excited to talk about this. So let's get into it. Did you want to start with the quote?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And before we do, in case this is you just for some reason just found us, definitely go back to our intros. We kind of describe exactly what we're doing again and why, and that we wrote. And here it is, our beautiful, wonderful book. And we're really going to go through this chapter by chapter. And we're going to be reading some quotes from it, talking about it, mainly because this is a tool. And we want you to not just listen to us, as wonderful as we are, but we want you to go read the book, get the words in your head, study it. There's questions, very short chapters, but this is really your support system to go along with you while you're actually listening to the podcast as well. And again, like Gio just said, if you're like, I don't really want to read a book, then as we just heard from someone today who actually read or was followed along with the read along.
Yes.
She loved it. And this, I'm just going to shamefully plug this because she said it was one thing to actually read it because it was her voice and she heard everything and got a lot out of it. But then she said when she listened to the two of us, she said it was actually like having us in the room with her at the same time, but that she learned new things all over again.
Yep.
So
mission accomplished. That's why we call it a read along. So if you don't want to read it solo, you can have Yvette and I read it to you.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to read an excerpt, and it's page 10 of the book, and it just is just the intro. Okay. And it says, you can be an expert in your industry, building a successful business, and internally feel like you're running in circles. I already feel like it's talking about us the way we used to be. The energy to run in unaligned circles can be exhausting on such an internally impactful way that we don't realize in a bigger picture we are doing more damage than good. I think that we need to just start there because I think most transitions for all of us, before we realize that we can get the support, we are running in circles, exhausted. And you and I right now see a lot of that in the world. And I really have to say, if you're listening to us, do not feel bad. There's nothing wrong with you, and we're not trying to fix you. We're not trying to fix you. It's more of saying, we're here, we understand, and we can help, but also understanding, what does a coach even do?
Yes.
And why is it so important?
Yes. And the other reason why we're doing this podcast is because you're not alone. You may feel alone. You may feel like you're the only person thinking what you're thinking or feeling what you're feeling, but this podcast is literally going to just align you with other women who are going through it with you, and that's why we're bringing our clients on. But yes, I think it's important because coaching is a thing. We started back in 2020 during COVID. Actually, you started your journey way before then, but really started coaching in 2020, and now, just like therapy, it's a tool, it's a necessity, and I wanted to go through the statistics and the why, because most women are like, oh, I don't need a coach, or I don't understand what a coach does. And if you don't, and what seasons you should be thinking about, because there's tons of seasons, if you don't hire a coach, it's really hurting you more than you actually know, financially, which we don't think that way, mentally, so mind, body, and soul, physically, and at the end of the day, your time, because you get stuck and you don't move forward. And then all of a sudden you're at an age where you're like, oh, this is not for me. My life is over. I'm not going to start over again. So we're going to kind of go through those things. And the why is important in anything and everything that we do. But this is a great little little statistic. It's not a luxury. Coaching is not a luxury. It's stability, clarity, and strategy in transition. That is a very powerful sentence. People who hire a coach are 65 to 80% more likely to follow through on the change or the season of change. Okay? So 65 to 80% to follow through. It is more than just accountability. It is literally your coach is the person who not only helps you map it out, it's seeing it, believing it, but also feeling it and understanding that it takes time to become that version of you.
Okay, well, we can go back and forth
Yes.
on this, but I'm also gonna say I find in coaching too that sometimes there's things that we don't see as the client, and when you have someone who really understands your goals, your purpose, where you're trying to get to, sometimes they can go, there's a hurdle, or you're saying the same hurdle, or there's a point in which you keep saying that you feel like you're stuck. Let's work through those things. And I don't know if we're going to get to this, but I'm going to go right now into the weeds. There is a difference between a coach, a family member, and your BFF.
Yeah.
Because family members love you, your BFF loves you, and they may not want to mention the hurdle, they may not see the hurdle, they may have the same hurdles, and it's not the same because
they're not trained professionals.
and they're not trained professionals. And guess what? We're not going to be with you at Christmas, at all the parties, seeing you in your most personal moments that there. So there's that, even though friends are so tight, there's also that uncomfortability of like, I'm going to not tell you everything. Where I feel like in coaching, when you have that dynamic relationship, you do tell your coach everything because it is a safe space to speak and be.
And I know a lot of what you guys are thinking already. Like, I don't even know what my goals or my dreams or anything is. That is part of what we help you do because we've never really paused to stop and think what that is. And if you do have time to do that, you're just kind of like, well, I don't know. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
The other thing that helps. So they stall because of overthinking. So most women do not hire a coach because they're overthinking, emotional attachment to old identities, in which we talk about in the book. It's just that loop going over and over and over the stories that we put in our head.
That you may not even know you have.
Yes. And the fear of making the wrong move.
Yeah.
And that's not just, it's time and money. Like, I want to make sure that people understand that most people say I don't have enough time and I don't have enough money to invest in a coach for myself. And that's really the opposite. And we're going to talk about that. So let's go into reason number 2 why you should really be hiring a coach.
Okay. There is a huge cost to this for when you do it alone. Okay. Unsupported transitions actually equal burnout and financial stress. And they're saying that 70% of professionals who pivot without support report anxiety, decision fatigue, and financial stress within the first year. So here's the irony in that. You think to yourself, I can't financially afford to get the support of a coach. But in the long run, if you add up the anxiety, decision fatigue, and financial stress within your first year, it's almost like you can't afford not to hire the support, because I bet you if anxiety was given a financial number and decision fatigue was given a financial number, which means lack of sleep and all the things that happen with that, how do you put a price tag on your anxiety and the stress that you feel every single day compared to meeting with a coach every other week, a month, and finding that support? There, obviously to us, there isn't.
Yeah.
You can't put a price tag on that, but it's hard to actually say how much is your stress level and anxiety, or the lack thereof, what value do you put that on for yourself compared to what you might see go out of your bank account for the support that you need?
I was lucky enough to hire my first coach which is what we want you to do, during a time where I was like, okay, I'm going into a new industry. I have no idea what I'm doing. I did have the financial backing, and I was very micro niche and hired a venue coach when I opened the venue, and it was great. And it was hybrid. It was wonderful. I did a lot of stuff on my own, but then I got to do check-ins every other week. The second coach I hired, I did it because I was financially and emotionally drained. And so I was like, I can't keep on doing this. And so the goal now in 2026, I mean, we want you to be proactive. So if you are like, what's the season to change? Like, when should I hire a coach, right? It should be really anytime. But if Maybe you're wanting to leave your corporate job. Maybe you want to go back to work. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you're in your second season of life and kids are gone, husband's retiring, you've lost your identity, you don't really have purpose. Maybe you don't have your confidence. I mean, there's so many things that should be the reason why you hire a coach. But if you're really looking to do transitioning in like the workspace, I think that's a really great time to do it while you're working. And I know you're thinking, oh, well, how am I going to do work and be a parent and be a spouse and also have a coach? But again, you're being proactive and coaches are getting you ready for that next season versus doing it. Hello, we've been there. After you're in the business, you're drowning, you're exhausted. It doesn't hit. It's just like when you get sick and then you have to go to the doctor and then like you have to have surgery. It's like, okay, if I would have just taken care of myself before, then this wouldn't be happening. And so really there is no wrong season to hire, but we do always say do that before you leave a corporate job, before you decide to quit your job, because it's important, because it is a complete mind shift change, but it's also us helping you see, like you said earlier, see something that you may have not seen before.
Okay, I want to talk about that.
Yes.
Because that really is, people wait until they're depleted to get the help. And unfortunately, I think that's because we live in a world where everybody's telling us that everything has to be perfect. Any transition, oh, the kids are leaving the house, I should be okay with this mentally, and I shouldn't be the depressed mom at home, or I don't want to be in corporate America, I want to get out of it, or I want to go from being at home to corporate America. And I think a lot of times what we think inside is really based on what other people are going to think about us. So we make the decisions of, well, I can't really be honest, I can't really tell someone how I really feel, or I feel shameful. Let's do the whole mothers being at home or being in the corporate world. If you're in the corporate world, I feel like the shame is, well, why are you here? You should be home with your children, taking care of your children, being there to go pick them up and all the things. And, it's like the shame on you. If you're at home and you want to be in the corporate world, then there's kind of that, well, why do you want to leave? Why do you want to leave this to go into the corporate world? It's like you can't win for losing on either side of those things, but that's what the world is telling you. So then you just go, I don't really want to share with someone how I really feel because I'm embarrassed and I feel like everybody's going to attack me, or I can't really be the real me, or I feel enjoyment and I know that I would be, or I was successful being in the corporate world, and I feel like that is the best version of me to be for my kids. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with any of those wants and feelings.
If any of those feelings, right. But we feel that kind of, well, I don't want to really share with anybody what's really going on because I don't want them to know, because if they knew, then again, I'd be embarrassed. Now I'll go back to the family and the friends. This is also where coach comes handy, because we do not talk about anything that goes on with your life with anybody else. It is very confidential. And we all know our BFFs and our families, especially our families, do not know how to be quiet. So if you tell them something, probably within 30 minutes, you're going to get 5 million phone calls. I didn't know you were leaving corporate America. I didn't know you were going to go back to work. And you're like, how did you even know that? I just told one person.
Everyone's opinions and stories go, they're like when you get married, right? Like, oh my God, it's the same thing. It's like, I didn't ask for all the advice, but thank you. And it's also like, is it really advice, or is it just what what they think?
What they think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the last point I wanted to make is why hiring a coach accelerates clarity and income. So even though we think, okay, I don't have money to hire a coach or time, it actually helps get you income, and it also gives you clarity. So it helps women in higher confidence in decision making, clear timelines, okay, so time management, faster income stabilization, and coaching isn't about being told what to do. We don't do that. A lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to get a coach. They're going to give me the checklist. I'm going to do all the things on the checklist and I'm going to be successful. That is not how this works. Even with being a business coach, there is so much more to you than just a checklist. And we do dig deep, and it's uncomfortable, but it's like pulling off the Band-Aid. Once it's pulled off, you're like, oh my God, that feels so much better. I can do this. And honestly, if you don't do it, it's going to cost you more emotionally, physically, financially, and relationally, because I don't think we talk about that. The relationships in your life, when you are in it, whatever season of change, it's a ripple effect, the good and the bad. So I love this little quote. Coaching doesn't eliminate fear, it helps you move with it. So I wanted to end with that because, like we said, every month we're going to have an amazing topic that we've seen our clients go through, that we've gone through, and then we're going to have a client come on and really just share their story, because what we teach, we're just like the real deal. Like, we've done it, we're still going through it, we're teaching it. So we're not the kind of people who, what did someone tell us, one of our clients? You're approachable, you're real, you're like, what you see is what you get.
Authentic.
It's authentic. Yeah, we're very authentic. And I think it's great because that's what we want the podcast to be too. We don't want you to watch us and go, okay, I got to write all these things down. Yes, we want you to read the book, but it's a tool. And then start to do small things each day to move the needle. And then at some point, jump on a call with us or with a coach that you maybe have a relationship with, and start to talk about it, get those feelings out, and start to really invest in yourself, because this is going to help you with clarity. It's going to help you with, if it's, it may not be an income-based coaching decision. It could be just with the season in life you're in, but that's just going to help you, again, mind, body, and soul. And once you're feeling good, the rest just kind of comes. And so we're just here to help you with that.
I do want to stress what you just said. Say it again. We are not perfect ourselves. And actually, I can't tell you how many times, probably in the past 3 months, I've called you and I've said, if it wasn't for the work that we do in our own lives and continue to do, I think that I'd be in the Lulu house. Seriously, I don't think, because sometimes I just go, I literally say to myself, what is happening with my life right now? But that it's not that I have all the answers. And I wish I did. I wish I could foresee the future and be able to, oh, I could just need to do this little check. It's not about a checklist. It's about me always going back to myself and going through the exercises and doing the things that have brought us to this point. And that's what I think about the beauty of success. How we define success isn't the checklist. I honestly feel like the success is that I can peacefully sit here and say, my nervous system is not out of whack. I'm getting sleep. I may not, I don't know, maybe a couple extra pounds, who cares? But the way I feel physically about myself outweighs anything that I ever felt before. And I know it's the work and the process. So if you are listening, first of all, thank you so much for even being here. But I have a sneaky suspicion that you push play, or you're either very, very nosy and want to know what Gio and I are doing, or there's that quiet little voice inside of you that's saying, you know what, I think I really do need to listen to this. And there's something inside of me that's saying, listen, you need to seek more, and this is just the beginning, and please don't stop listening to her, because she deserves to be heard.
Yeah. I think you said a couple of things that resonated with me. Clarity, which we talked about. I have so much clarity in my life right now, which is amazing. Being in alignment, the evolution of not just ourselves, but our brand and our company and the women in our company. But joy, I mean, I have not felt joy like this in such a long time. Actually, I don't even think I've really felt this type of joy. So I think, as we have been tested, we're still going through a lot of things behind the scenes, but we're also open about it. And I know that the universe is doing that because it's helping us for a client that's looking for us. So thank you for being on this journey with me, and thank you for talking about this today. Do you want to end with actually, before we end with the quote, this episode is sponsored by, and you can sponsor an episode too. This episode is sponsored by Cabby Clothing. And for those of you guys who didn't know, Yvette and I are wear and share stylists with Cabby. And you're probably like, what is all that? What does that mean? Gio? What does it mean? Okay, so what it means is pretty much, we love the clothes. One of our clients, who will be on later on in the few months, has been styling us for years. And the company did an amazing job at doing a wear and share, which is like an affiliate link, so if you love our looks, we're not going to go over them. We'll have them in the links. If you love what we're wearing, we post almost every day. You can go in the link to our podcast. You can click on there. It'll show you our outfits, but we just love to look fabulous. Life looks good. That's the motto of Cabby Spring 2026. And so we wanted to come on in some fun little fits. So we are now digital stylists. We just share what we wear online. Why not? It's part of the YGC brand now. And thank you so much for Cabby sponsoring the show.
All right. And we will end with this beautiful quote from page 28 of our book, What is Happening with Our Life Right Now? My life right now. Rewriting your script and becoming your future self isn't about perfection. Okay, I'm going to read that 100% again. Rewriting your script and becoming your future self is not about perfection. It's about pattern disruption. Your future self isn't flawless. She's just aware, and she is in charge now. And if you want more, you can go find more in the what is happening with my life right now. And thank you again for being here with both of us.
Yes. Until next time. I love it.
Hold pose.